When the rules of the game are bent, the future of the players is at risk. Breaking news from Abuja this Monday. Peter Obi, former Labour Party presidential candidate in 2023, joined hundreds of protesters voicing opposition to recent changes in Nigeria's electoral bill. The Senate recently rejected a provision for mandatory real-time electronic transmission of election results from polling units, leaving it to the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to choose the method of results transmission. Lawmakers led by Senate President Godswill Akpabio defended the amendment, citing concerns over network failures in insecure regions and the potential for grid collapses that could disrupt elections. Yet for many citizens, activists and engineers, this move represents a rollback on transparency, threatening the integrity of future elections, particularly with the 2027 general elections approaching. In this video, we will walk you through the context of the bill, the protests led by Peter Obi and the youth, the arguments on both sides, and the implications this has for governance and democracy in Nigeria. Before we continue, if you believe that transparency, accountability, and credible elections are non-negotiable for Nigeria's future, like this video and subscribe to Arise News. This channel brings verified updates, in-depth analysis, and questions that matter to every Nigerian citizen. To understand the significance, we must revisit history. During the 2023 elections, the real-time electronic transmission system was turned off in key moments, leading to widespread allegations of result manipulation. Many observers contend that this technology could have prevented irregularities and ensured immediate transparency. By rejecting the mandatory provision now, critics argue, the Senate is preserving loopholes that could allow electoral malpractices to recur, potentially disadvantaging opposition candidates and undermining public trust in the democratic process. Protesters gathered in Abuja highlighted these risks. Peter Obi, speaking to the crowd, stressed that future elections depend on transparency today. Young Nigerians in particular view the real-time transmission as a non-negotiable tool to prevent manipulation. Engineers supporting the demonstration emphasized that modern satellite solutions, including Starlink, make real-time uploads technically feasible even in remote or insecure areas. Groups advocating for electoral integrity warned that failure to implement these provisions could provoke boycotts and weaken participation, further eroding confidence in the system. The government's position, as articulated by Akpabio, rests on concerns about network reliability and the possibility of partial failures affecting results transmission, especially in regions facing insecurity or poor infrastructure. While these arguments have technical merit, many Nigerians see them as excuses that protect entrenched political interests rather than serve the electorate. In their view, a fully transparent system cannot be optional. It is a safeguard for democracy itself. The protests underscore a generational shift in political engagement. Peter Obi's presence amplifies the concerns of young Nigerians who are increasingly unwilling to accept systemic compromises that undermine accountability. They view the electoral process not as a game for politicians, but as the foundation of their future opportunities, governance, and national cohesion. By demanding that the bill be signed and sealed, they are calling for action that strengthens democracy rather than leaving it vulnerable to manipulation. At the heart of this dispute is trust. The electorate remembers how the 2023 elections were affected when the transmission system was switched off. For opposition leaders and their supporters, this move had real consequences, and the fear now is that the same scenario could repeat unless legislative reforms guarantee transparency. For the ruling party, the argument is framed around caution and contingency planning, emphasizing the practical challenges of nationwide real-time uploads. The tension reflects a deeper struggle between technical feasibility and democratic integrity, and between political control and citizen empowerment. The implications of this standoff are profound. If the bill is signed into law with mandatory real-time uploads, future elections could see immediate verification of results at the polling unit level, drastically reducing the potential for manipulation. Election observers, media, and citizens would have tools to ensure accountability in real time, strengthening public confidence and participation. Conversely, failure to implement this provision risks eroding trust, reducing voter turnout, and deepening cynicism about the political process. In addition to transparency concerns, the protests highlight broader questions about governance and citizen participation in Nigeria. Young people, organized around civic engagement and technology, are demanding a government that is responsive and accountable, willing to adopt modern tools that protect the public interest. Peter Obi's leadership in these demonstrations signals that opposition figures can play a critical role in mobilizing awareness and ensuring that reforms are not stalled by political convenience. What happens next depends on both legislative action and public pressure. Effective implementation would require the House of Representatives and the Presidency to approve and sign the bill, coupled with technical investment from INEC to deploy robust real-time transmission systems. Security and oversight mechanisms would need to be strengthened to ensure that transmission networks cannot be tampered with, and citizens would need to be educated on monitoring results to hold authorities accountable. Failure to act risks further protests, heightened tensions, and growing distrust in electoral institutions.
Peter Obi and youth activists have framed their demands in moral as well as political terms. Elections belong to the people, and transparency safeguards the nation's future. The protests send a clear message. Citizens will not remain silent in the face of policies that weaken democracy. They are calling on lawmakers to prioritize the integrity of the electoral process above partisan advantage and to recognize that the credibility of the 2027 elections will shape Nigeria's trajectory for years to come. The one question Nigerians should reflect on is this: should the government prioritize technical caution or democratic transparency when the future of elections and public trust are at stake? Your thoughts are essential, and we encourage you to share them in the comment section. As we close, remember this: a democracy that forgets its citizens is like a river that dries at the source. The push for real-time transmission is not just a technical debate, it is a fight for the credibility, fairness, and sustainability of Nigeria's democratic system. Subscribe to Arise News to stay informed, track developments on the electoral bill, and follow the voices of citizens shaping the nation's future. The story is far from over, and we will continue to bring you verified updates, analysis, and accountability reporting every step of the way.